So today's live is going to be really funny because reality right now is just all over the place. So you may or may not have heard, but Donald Trump recently called into C-SPAN on to complain, but he was using one of his well-known aliases in order to voice his dissent. And it's just so funny because this is the current president of the United States spending his time not leading the country, not doing anything to substantively benefit the American people, but to call in and complain about not getting his way, which leads to, yes, the very much certainty that he is a malignant narcissist and also suffers from narcissism personality disorder. And I'm going to be playing the video clip for you all here on live stream, or if you're watching this back as a video, you will be seeing it then. But this just makes me laugh. And honestly, a lot of times I get frustrated with what Trump is doing, but you know, this is just sad. Like, this is just sad and pathetic. And I just have to laugh. Like, I truly, it just makes, it just makes me laugh because it's so sad and pathetic. Ugh. It actually soothes my soul. And I have a special surprise that I'm bringing back. So I appreciate every single one of you. I'm really excited for today's live show. Tell me if you're drinking a beverage or have coffee. I have coffee this morning. And, you know, tell me what you're drinking in the chat below. But I'm really excited to debut this because this happened over the weekend. And I just found this to be the funniest thing. Tell me what are your thoughts in the chat below. I appreciate every single one of you. Hold on. All right. How many people we got in here? 4? That's okay. Let's go ahead and get started here. Here we go. Bad tongue pop. Hold on. Here we go. Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. This part in my hair is driving me insane, but it's okay. It's okay. It's just one part of my life, literally. But let's get into the news, shall we? Okay, if you thought that Donald Trump couldn't sink any lower, he has gone to the depths of the Mariana Trench. That's like the lowest point in the world, by the way. But Donald Trump is so pathetic that he called in to C-SPAN to complain under an alias. And by the way, he has used this alias, John Barron, as well as John Miller. He's used Carolyn Gallego and others to basically pretend like it's not him complaining. And I just find this to be so sad and pathetic, but also hilarious because he thinks that we don't see it. Like, does he think Americans are dumb? Anyway, but let's get into it. I'm going to play the clip for you all. All right, here we go. So John Barron calls into C-SPAN to rage about Supreme Court tariff ruling, gets cut off after calling Hakeem Jeffries a dope. And let me just share what ended up going down. Soon after the Supreme Court ruling striking down President Donald Trump's tariffs was announced, C-SPAN opened up its phone lines and got a call from an incensed viewer who identified himself as John Barron. Now, as a quick little thing, John is Donald Trump's middle name, and Barron is his son's name. So pretty obvious as an alias. John Barron, of course, was the alias used by Trump back in the 1980s and 90s to plant stories with journalists. In a clip, which spread widely on social media Sunday, a C-SPAN caller borrowed that moniker to impersonate Trump and rage against the court's opinion. I think the way that Mediaite is writing this is somehow borrowed. No. If you clearly listen to the clip, yeah, it's Donald Trump. But also, this goes in alignment with past behavior. So if you're someone that is like, oh, it's obviously not him. Really? So this is what he said, and I'll play the clip for you all. All right? All right. This is John Barron. Look, this is the worst decision you've ever have in your life, practically. And Jack's gonna agree with me, right? Right, Jack? Yes, Jack agrees with me. But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, who, he's a dope, we all agree on that. And you have Chuck Schumer, who can't even cook a cheeseburger. Can't even cook a cheeseburger, where the hell is that coming from? He's obviously not had lunch yet. Like, he clearly is hungry, okay? And you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger, of course. These people are happy, of course they are. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans, the ones that I like, the ones that are not the enemy from within, will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a Democrat, but she's devastated by this. So let me play the clip for you all here on live. Hold on. Or if you're watching this back as a video, I will be putting the clip here. Hold on. So let me turn around the camera. I just found this to be the funniest thing ever. Okay, hold on. Let me flip this around. Hold on just a second. Let me take off the green screen. Hold on. No green screen. Okay. So this is the clip here, and I'm gonna turn it up. It's clearly Donald Trump, y'all. Just listen.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's gonna agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, who, he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.
All right,
by
John.
this.
We'll go to Chester, who's in Baton Rouge.
It's so clearly him. It's so clearly him. And there's bound to be all of these like Trump humpers that are like, it's not him, it's not him. Oh, sweetheart, this is the kind of pattern of behavior that Donald Trump always does, okay? If you're gonna go and be a Trump supporter, just at least admit it. Like, let me turn back on my green screen. So it's clearly Trump in that clip. And again, he says in here, let me pull it back up. This is John Barron. That's not even a clever alias. It's not at all. Dude is so cooked. Speaking of cooking, and you have Chuck Schumer, who, of course, can't cook a cheeseburger. It's Trump, y'all. We know how much Donald Trump loves fast food, cheeseburgers, fries, McDonald's. Like, this is clearly his speech patterns. The evidence is right here. Trump is known for a specific speech pattern where he repeats constantly, uses a lot of grandiose language, and uses over-the-top, drama-seeking verbiage in order to explain something. Look, this is the worst decision you've ever had in your life, practically. That's very much a Donald Trump kind of sentence. It's a terrible decision, the worst decision that you'll ever have. You agree with me? Yes, he agrees with me. Like, the same kinds of things. Oh, goes into name calling. Donald Trump has it's clearly him. And if you didn't know, Donald Trump has a Wikipedia page full of just names that he has, like, used as a belittling way. Trump has a whole Wikipedia page for people that he's nicknamed. Childish things. So it's clearly him. Of course these people are happy. Of course they're happy. Constantly putting an us versus them thing. And I just love how he was cut off too. But let me dive into this here just a little bit. Let me get back on my music. Hold on. Okay, so if you all did not know, Donald Trump has used John Barron or John Miller or Carolyn Gallego as aliases in the past. for those people who are like, okay, refresh my memory, what's an alias? An alias is basically a name that you go by instead of your real name. So my real name is Scott Johnson. If I wanted to go by an alias, maybe I could say something that, a name that I use as, to kind of, I guess, cloak my identity. It's what people would use if they write into a newspaper column sometimes. Maybe I could say Davis McHenry. My middle name is Davis, so, and McHenry is just a somewhat Irish name, and I'm part Irish, so I guess that could be an alias. But, I want to point this out here. The amazing story of Donald Trump's old spokesperson, John Barron, who is actually just Donald Trump himself. Now, of course, that is an old article, so I'm going to go to the Wikipedia page. They have a whole Wikipedia page about pseudonyms used by Donald Trump. This includes John Barron, John Miller, David Dennison, or Carolyn Gallego. His practice of sometimes speaking to the media under the guise of a spokesperson has been described as, quote, an open secret, end quote, at the Trump Organization and in New York media circles. He's used the alias John Barron throughout the 1980s, with its earliest known usage in 1980 as its last acknowledgement in 1990. Trump stopped using the pseudonym after he was compelled to testify in court proceedings that John Barron was one of his pseudonyms. So he basically had to stop using the pseudonym because the court was like, okay, dude, you really need to stop this. I'm surprised that he did in some limited fashion. But of course, like Donald Trump, he wants to use it again. Continuing on, Trump stopped using the pseudonym after he was compelled to testify in court proceedings that John Barron was one of his pseudonyms. In 1991, a reporter for People magazine interviewed Trump's purported publicist, John Miller. John is his middle name. I don't know where Miller comes from. About the end of Trump's marriage to Ivana Trump and his rumored association with other women. A 1992 letter to New York magazine was signed by Trump's purported secretary, signed by Carolyn Gallego. The name David Dennison was also used as a pseudonym for Trump by his own personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, in a 2016 pre-election non-disclosure agreement with PORN film actress Stormy Daniels. And it's just so funny because this is my favorite one. Carolyn Gallego wrote a 1992 letter saying that women love Donald Trump. We're having trouble finding her. It was interesting because there were no mentions of, you could not find Carolyn Gallego as a part of the Trump Organization. There was no documented record of this Carolyn Gallego at all. So, this letter resurfaced in a 2017 article in the Washingtonian, which highlighted similarities between patterns of repetition in Trump's speech and the final line in the letter, which reads, quote, "I do not believe any man in America gets more calls from women wanting to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women, the most successful women all love Donald Trump." It's clearly him. It's clearly him. Let me read you what it looks like. So this is the excerpt. Based on the fact that I work for Donald Trump as his secretary, and thereby I know him well, it's clearly Donald Trump. He uses that kind of like comma, comment something. I think he treats women with great respect, contrary to what this person, Julie Baumgold, whoever said, implied in her article. I do not believe any man in America gets more calls from women wanting to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women, the most successful women, all women love Donald Trump. It's clearly him. The same speech patterns. And so what does this really mean, and what does this show about our current country? Just think about it. Let's put the shoe on the other foot for just a second. I know some people might think this exercise is silly, but of course I'm here to help critical thinking. If this was a Democratic president and they were doing the same kind of thing, this would be front page news. This would immediately lead to like an impeachment, a resignation, any sort of big scandal that decreases that decreases support among the citizenry. But the reason why Donald Trump is so immune from this kind of public scandal is because his base is a cult. They don't need reason. They don't need evidence that goes against their pre-existing beliefs to then steer them away. They're on the Trump train forever, no matter hell or high water. And that's what it's like being in a cult. That's the reason why Donald Trump can go through any scandal and somehow still have his basis of like 32% support. It's because that's the group of people in this country that are a part of a genuine cult. He can do whatever. He can shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and he says, I can just shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose any votes. And people love that kind of crap. It's because it doesn't matter how much Trump steals from them, how much Trump siphons from them in the tunes of merch, he is going to milk that cow. He is going to constantly view his supporters as a means to an end. And that's why at least people like me are trying to help people get out of that kind of craziness. I would love for America to move on. But imagine if this was a Democrat. Imagine if this was Joe Biden. Like, you would have MAGA people, of course, just endlessly talking about this. But this barely even becomes front page news because when it's in today's 2026 hellscape. Anyway, you get my gist. I'm gonna get to some people's comments because I was cracking up at the comments here. So, John Barron, there's definitely a style there, isn't there? I'm sure I've seen phrases like that before. I just can't put my finger on it. Mr. and Mrs. Mar-a-Lago Gallego are pleased to announce the engagement of their daughter, Carolyn, to Mr. John Barron of New York City. Of course, trying to find Carolyn, and it's the little meme of the cat like going like this. Trump is just a sad, pathetic man with tiny hands and a limited vocabulary. Well, Trump does have the best words. No one has better words than he does. So either he wrote this or he dictated it. Carolyn married John Barron. At least it wasn't something they could steal from Michelle or Barack. John Miller strikes again. So obviously people, of course, clowning on it. By the way, and I also fact-checked this, in Northeast Brazil, Gallego means a very white person. I actually wanted to fact-check this and see if this was true, because I'm like, okay, really? Like, is that actually true? Gallego primarily means a person from the region of Galicia in Spain. But in Northeast Brazil, it refers to someone with white skin and blonde hair. Like Donald Trump. Well, I don't know if he has white skin, it's more orange, but you know what I mean. So, blonde hair, Donald Trump. So, even if it's so obvious his alias in that sense. But some other comments here, that PEDO president can't stop playing childish games. And that's also the big thing here. Like, it's clearly Trump. It's clearly him. He's focusing so much on these childish games instead of doing anything to lead the country. He's calling in to complain under an alias. Dude has serious mental health issues. Why does this article say it was someone impersonating Trump? No one impersonates Trump that well, nor would want to. Everyone knows it was Trump. Sounded like he was holding his nose. Yeah, true. It does kind of sound like that. In Melania's case, their son Barron was conceived by a John. Get this man out of the presidency right now. All he is doing is destroying what everybody has built. Facts. All right, John, the C-SPAN person cutting him off after 32 seconds. This is what all of mainstream media should do to Trump. Hang up on him and cut his mic when he starts lying. Well, that would be within the first 10 seconds. So, I'm David Dennison, and I agree with the last caller. David Dennison is also another alias for Donald Trump, if you missed the previous part. But I wanted to read some more comments here because John Barron has returned. For those not tracking, he's used this pseudonym many times in the 70s and 80s when he called into shows. Correction, not 70s and 80s, but 80s and 90s, just to be very, very clear. His middle name and his son's first name, it's clearly him. It sounds like something he'd do. And that's another thing. Whether he did or did not, he did. But like, let's say for the instance that he didn't. This would be definitely something he would do. Because he's done this kind of behavior in the past. So for people that are like, I am so 100% sure it's not him. It's like, this is clearly something that Donald Trump would do. But it's also him. Anyway. Trump used to phone radio shows in New York in the 80s and 90s using the name John Barron. He used another one like Miller too. It was well known. Long before he called his son Barron, no doubt as an homage to himself. She ends it with, okay, Trump, moving on to blank in Baton Rouge. She clearly knew who the caller was. And of course, there were some other memes like this. I'm John Barron. The handlebar mustache is the choice. Or John Barron, John Miller, and David Dennison. I love when people make these memes, okay? It's just the funniest thing to me. But, so it's clearly Trump. It's clearly Trump. I don't know what else to say at this point. So he named his son after his alter ego. Wow, such an intelligent person. Wow, God, we see what you are doing for other people. Please go ahead and send us that big, beautiful obituary. We're begging, Lord, please. Yeah. What do you all think? I want to read out some of your comments here. It's clearly Donald Trump phoning into the radio show. Hold on. Let me look back at your comments here. Let's see. Do we have any comments from people? Of course, someone says that it's fake. LOL. Who's saying kind of a stretch? Really? You gotta be kidding. You're like, I don't like factual information that goes against my pre-existing beliefs because I don't like it. No. I go by Candy Clemens sometimes, but only because my name isn't pronounceable. Yeah. This isn't new info. What's the breaking part of this topic? The breaking part of this topic is that Donald Trump did it. If this was another president, I guarantee that you would be like, this is the biggest news story in America. But as soon as it's your guy, you're like, okay, so what? Seriously, have an ideology. It's shocking no matter who it is. How sad and desperate do you have to be? Like, he doesn't have anyone to talk to? Fair, exactly. The fact that he's going through such depravities in order to voice, like, Donald Trump is arguably the person who has the biggest microphone ever in the country, in the world right now. Donald Trump clearly he has his own social media. He has his own whole social media platform. He is the current president of the United States. This is a guy who has no shortage of his speech being stifled whatsoever. Yet he feels like his speech is being limited so much so that he has to call into a radio show under an alias that it's well known that it's him to then complain. And see, this gets into what a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists are saying, that he has narcissistic personality disorder and malignant narcissism. It's just sad to think that this man feels so unheard. The fact that he goes to such lengths to constantly share all of this crap. Like, if I am in a position of leadership, I am not focusing on constantly trying to have my voice be heard. I'm trying to lead and be a coalition builder and form consensus and do things that substantively help people. Like, if I am an elected representative, that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be focusing endlessly on whining my way into the headlines. But that's what Donald Trump does. That's what he truly does. But anyway, but all that being said, I just want to play the video for you all again because it's so funny. It's so funny. I mean, what do you all think? We got 60 people in here. What do you all think? Should I release a poll? Actually, you know, it's not even okay. That's even like, no. I'm not gonna put out a poll saying, do you think that this was him? Because it's clearly him. Like, that's a stupid question. It's clearly him. Anyway, I just think that it's funny how there are also MAGA people that cannot handle. They can't handle this. They're coming into this live stream and they're like, oh, it's clearly not him. Sweetheart. Like, I just laugh at this. Do you all laugh at this? Let me play the clip for you all, because I find it hilarious. I find it just the funniest thing ever. Hold on. Let me turn this back around. Turn this back around. And turn off the green screen. All right. For people that are like, oh, I haven't seen the video yet. This is Donald Trump calling into C-SPAN under the moniker John Barron, which is one of his aliases. So it's clearly him, but this is the exchange between him and the C-SPAN anchor.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, who he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course, these people are happy, but you Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier. I assume she's a woman. She's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's.
We'll go to Chester, who's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Democratic call.
She's like, yeah, no.
Chester in Baton Rouge, your reaction to the Supreme Court.
Yes. Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me.
It's clearly him, y'all.
This is a terrible decision, and you have Hakeem Jeffries, who he's a dope.
Call from Virginia.
Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced.
It's clearly him. It's clearly him. It's clearly him. These people are so crazy. It's clearly him. I don't know what else to tell you. It's clearly him. And like, if you're like, oh, well, the voice can be faked. Well, think about the substance of what they're saying, okay? Trump has very clear, specific form of speech. The way that you do Trump impressions and the way that you speak like Trump is you repeat yourself, but only in slightly different terms. Look, this is the worst decision, and then you say it's a terrible decision, and then you'll say something, name-calling, belittling someone else, then using an us versus them dynamic, and then talking about how this is somehow un-American. Look, this is the worst decision you've had in your life, practically, and Jack's gonna agree with me, Jack, you're gonna agree with me. Looks over to no one sitting next to him. But this is a terrible decision, and you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope. You have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. It's no secret that Donald Trump loves fast food, so he obviously had not had dinner or lunch yet. Of course these people are happy, but true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she's devastated by this. It's clearly him. I don't know what else to tell you. And of course, again, I'm repeating myself, and then I'm going to go into the next segment here. This story is just amazing because Donald Trump has used John Barron, John Miller, David Dennison, and Carolyn Gallego as aliases in the past. So this is in full alignment with Donald Trump's behavior, but then also it's so clearly him. I don't know what else to say. It's clearly him. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see a whole Wikipedia page full of specific examples and moments from when Donald Trump used John Barron, John Miller, Carolyn Gallego, and David Dennison as aliases. And my favorite, of course, is when he used Carolyn Gallego, which in northeastern Brazil, Gallego actually refers to a very white person with blonde hair, just as a factual thing. And this is what Carolyn Gallego said. I can read this in Trump voice and you will think that that it's him. Based on the fact that I worked for Donald Trump as his secretary, and therefore I know him well, I think that he treats women with great respect, contrary to what Julie Baumgold implied in her article. I do not believe any man in America gets more calls from women wanting to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women, the most successful women, all love Donald Trump. It's clearly him. It's clearly him. The whole internet trying to find Carolyn Gallego. And it's so obvious at this point. But think about how sad it is. That when I first saw this story, that was my immediate first reaction. I was like, this is just sad. I don't remember how old Donald Trump is, but like, he feels so unheard that he has to use his alias still in this day and age to call into C-SPAN to complain. And this really gets into the character of Trump. He is an absolute narcissist. He's a malignant narcissist. Imagine being the president of the United States and still feeling so unheard that even though you are the president, even though you have your own social media platform that you complain about, and you have you have a whole big group of cultist followers that are at your beck and call, this man still doesn't feel heard enough. Imagine that. And instead of doing anything to substantively benefit the American people or focus on those things, he instead just whines and complains and calls into C-SPAN. This is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. It's literally the most embarrassing thing ever. I don't know how he doesn't suffer from endless amounts of embarrassment. But I want to pivot here real quick. So this is what Donald Trump had posted literally about 32 minutes before I ended up going live today. So this is probably about an hour or so ago. This is the kind of stuff that he said. And I'm not here specifically to talk about the Supreme Court ruling. I am not a constitutional expert. I also haven't looked into specifically what the Supreme Court has said about it or the implications, so I'm not going to pretend to know. Though his response was, the Supreme Court, and I will be using lowercase letters for a while based on the complete lack of respect. The Supreme Court of the United States accidentally and unwittingly gave me, as President of the United States, far more powers and strength than I had prior to the ridiculous, dumb, and internationally divisive ruling. Huh? Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Why are you then upset? You're like, the Supreme Court, I'll be using lowercase letters because they don't respect me, actually has given me a lot more powers as president because of their divisive ruling. So why aren't you thanking them if they gave you more powers? Why aren't you then thanking them, calling them the greatest thing ever? Like, you're gonna pull a muscle with the amount of stretching you're having to do. You're gonna tie your own mind into a Gordian knot. Like, how in the world can you justify being mad at them, but then also saying that they gave you more powers? Like, and also, if they did, then why are you so upset? Also, Donald Trump appointed 3 of the damn Supreme Court justices. 3! 3! And he's still, he basically packed the court, and then he still doesn't like the ruling. Oh! Oh my God. It's, ugh. This man is so pathetic. So pathetic, y'all. Oh. Like, it's just sad. It's just sad if you are a MAGA cultist Trump supporter. Like, you must really have some sort of like fetish for being dominated or being owned. You must really love humiliation because you have to justify this garbage all day. I don't know what else to tell you. But it really goes into his character of being an absolute narcissist and suffering from malignant narcissism. And of course, he goes into doing one of his weaves, talking about this, that. And this is where I want to pivot in the live stream here. So a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists, they're breaking down Donald Trump, his personality, everything. He really has narcissistic personality disorder and suffers a lot from malignant narcissism. And you're like, okay, all right, I hear you, but like, what does that even mean? So narcissistic personality disorder, many experts believe that Trump displays great traits of NPD, including grandiose sense of self-importance, or a constant need for admiration and entitlement. Yeah, like using an alias that you haven't used for years and then calling into a C-SPAN show. Some professionals have also argued that Trump exhibits a more severe form of narcissism, often termed malignant narcissism, which includes antisocial features like deceitfulness, impulsivity, and lack of remorse. Yeah, that absolutely sounds like Trump. And let me give you a little bit more information here. Please make sure to send some likes. So here's a little bit of an overview with narcissistic personality disorder. It's a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. Remind you of any certain president? They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. Yes, this is the same guy that had a whole military parade on his birthday. Currently, our government is hanging flags on government buildings with his face. This is the kind of crap that a dictator does. Dictators are known narcissists. It's so clear that he's a narcissist. If a president of an opposing political party to you hangs up a banner with their face on it, you'd be like, yeah, that's a narcissist. Now, if it's a person in your own party, would you then somehow be like, yeah, that's okay. He's just, that's cool. That's fine. That's great. Like, no, I sure hope that you would have a consistent ideology, a consistent set of beliefs to say, yeah, that's a little far. That's pretty narcissistic. But of course, any sort of Trump MAGA cultists, they are devoid from any critical thinking whatsoever and constantly prove me correct. But continuing on, people with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. Yeah, let me give you something. Exhibit A. This is the kind of stuff that Trump puts out on his Truth Social. This is a perfect example of malignant narcissism. Of course, border security is something that is a political issue, but then using crocodiles as a form of border security, crocodiles eating people, yeah, that's complete malignant narcissism. Complete malignant narcissism. Or doing this, using a map that includes Canada and the United States and just saying, oh, that's all the United States. People who overly troll like this are malignant narcissists. You might say, oh, it's meant to just be funny. Yeah, but with Trump, he doesn't clarify it. No, he means it. Rewriting the Gulf of Mexico, which great, it's a body of water, who cares? The Gulf of America. Okay, great. Like, this is the kind of, these are examples of this malignant narcissism. Or this. I am the greatest friend that American capitalism has ever had. Clearly narcissistic. Don't be a panikin, a new party based on weak and stupid people. Putting someone down, malignant narcissism. It's very clear. So, of course, narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. Gee, who does that sound like? Narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, financial matters. People with narcissistic personality disorder may generally be unhappy and disappointed when they're not given special favors or admiration that they believe that they deserve. They may find their relationships troubled and unfulfilling, and other people may not enjoy being around them. It's very well known that Donald Trump, his turnover rate for staff is quite high. Treatment for narcissistic personality disorder centers around talk therapy, also psychotherapy, taking oneself out of one's shoes and thinking about other people, which somehow Trump cannot do. And see, what I try to do on my live streams is always encourage critical thinking and empathy. Just because something doesn't personally negatively affect me doesn't mean I'm not gonna care. Of course, I have empathy for other people. If they're going through a tough time, I'm just gonna imagine myself in that person's shoes. And I'd be like, yeah, that's really tough. I'm sorry that you're going through that. Trump doesn't care. Trump is actively waging a war on any sort of empathetic impulse that Americans have. That's probably one of the most dangerous things, in my view, about what Trump does. He gets everyone to focus so little on other people and the benefits to an entire group of people or a community, and he's always so self-inward. He's always putting other people down to make himself look higher. And Trumpism is the exact opposite of empathy. And I think that empathy needs to be back in politics, like post-haste. Because leadership should not be around what one can get from office. Doesn't matter the party. It should be around what you can do to help people. Clearly, Donald Trump does not understand that at all. He's focusing on his he's focusing on his face being on flags and banners on government buildings. If that's not dictator-like to you, then go get your eyes checked, because goddamn, more symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder and how severe they can vary. I have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance. Donald Trump is the greatest friend to American capitalism, is one of the best. A lot of women say that he's one of the best people with women whatsoever. Everyone says that, this Supreme Court, and I'm using Supreme Court in lowercase because they don't have my respect anymore. And you agree with me, John. You agree with me, Eric. You agree with me that the Supreme Court is awful. This is one of the worst rulings. And over there you have Hakeem Jeffries. He's a dope. You have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Some say that women love me. Like, clear evidence of narcissistic personality disorder. Make achievements and talents seem bigger than they are. I settled 7 wars, even ones that I made up. I made up off the top of my head. I settled them. It was one of the best settlements. You've never seen a settlement better. And everyone was saying that I'm one of the best people. Some people say that me kidnapping the leader of another country is one of the most peaceful things that I could have done. Like, he's clearly out of his goddamn mind. Feel that they deserve special privileges and special treatment. Like, having a whole military parade for himself. So I can go on with example after example after example. At the same time, these people become impatient or angry when they don't receive special recognition or treatment, or have major problems interacting with others and feel easily slighted, react with rage or contempt, or try to belittle other people and make themselves feel superior, have difficulty managing their emotions. Gee, I wonder who that sounds like. And also how this connects with malignant narcissism. For those people who don't know, malignant narcissism is a severe type of narcissistic personality disorder that combines the grandiosity with sadistic behavior. So you're like, okay, well, what's the sadistic behavior part? This sadistic behavior part is when you also use your narcissism to endlessly put down other people or deceive, lie, cheat, anger, gaslight other people. Malignant narcissism combines the typical usual symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, but then also with antisocial behaviors like paranoia, sadism, etc. The condition isn't officially recognized by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It's narcissism subtype coined by social psychologist Eric Fromm. And let me give you some more specific examples. When you picture a narcissist, you may imagine who simply can't stop talking about themselves. They want everyone to know how much they've achieved or how much more they're capable of. Malignant narcissism takes this a step further by including an element of cruelty. This type of narcissist doesn't simply delight in being admired, but they delight in humiliating and hurting other people. So much so that their behavior might even be sociopathic at times. The pain they inflict doesn't necessarily need to be physical. They may aim to tear you down emotionally. Gee, let's look at some examples here. Oh, yeah, using alligators as border security. You know, alligators having eaten people in moats. Yeah, that's not cruel at all. Or attempting to just swallow up another country because you want their resources. Yeah, without their permission, without their consent. Yeah, that's definitely not malignant narcissism at all. Renaming a whole body of water because you don't like the name so that you can somehow make yourself feel better. Yeah, that's not malignant narcissism at all. Or claiming that I am the greatest friend that American capitalism has ever had. Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like a dictator or malignant narcissist at all. Or something like this. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but rather by those who watch them without doing anything to stop them. Yeah, the projection is so real. Or complaining that polls that you don't like are somehow fake. These people should be investigated for election fraud. They should be investigated for election fraud. This is the Trump stock market. When the stock market was doing well under Joe Biden, which I really don't care about the stock market, but when the stock market was doing well, he was like, it's all because of me. It's all because of me. It's the Trump stock market because my polls are doing so great because I'm doing so well. Yeah, not malignant narcissism at all. Gee. Or wanting to reopen Alcatraz. Yeah, that's not malignant narcissism at all. I'm directing the Bureau of Prisons together with the Department of Justice to reopen Alcatraz. Like, what the hell? Or being like, this is a concerted effort by other nations and a threat to national security. I'm instituting 100% tariff. Illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our nation, and they're coming from all these places, clearly trying to put down other people. It's classic malignant narcissism. Classic. Or, okay, here's another thing. Trump has basically brainwashed his whole cultist group to be malignant narcissists for him. Not for themselves, but for him. So much so that there was this one person that posted, and I covered this back when it happened. Let me give you more specifics into this instance. Do you all remember when when Donald Trump reposted a specific cultist follower who basically said that there is no Joe Biden. There's no Joe Biden. Apparently, Joe Biden, according to this person, was unalived in 2020, and now a robotic body double is controlling Joe Biden. If you all remember when this happened, and it was interesting because you literally had either AI bots or actual people. It's awful if it's awful if it's either one. Like, this person said these are clearly not the same people. What? Go get your eyes checked. Like, huh? It's clearly the same person. It's clearly the same person. They're like, look at this. Joe Biden then, Joe Biden now. Like, it's the same guy. It's the same guy. Friendly reminder, if you think this is the same man, schedule an appointment with an ophthalmologist today. It's the same dude. So he's brainwashed his supporters to be malignant narcissists on his behalf. On his behalf. And then it's funny because some of them were like, oh, we do a little bit of trolling. So you even had the MAGA base that were like, oh yeah, this is clearly true. And then some of them were like, oh, we're just trolling. Which one is it? Which one is it? It's so dumb. I mean, just imagine if I were to take pictures of younger Trump and compare them with pictures of older Trump. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, it's not the same person. You'd be like, you're an idiot. Go get your eyes checked. So why is it that when you put the shoe on the other foot, you can't process it? And I'm not trying to get through to those people, but it just clearly shows evidence more of malignant narcissism. And when I already said that. Hold on. Oh geez, my graphics got out of order here. But if you have a malignant narcissist in your life, you've likely endured a difficult and often painful relationship. You might have found yourself initially impressed by their confidence and charm, only to eventually discover their cruel streak. They may belittle you in public, ripping into your self-esteem to make themselves feel superior, or use fits of rage and threats of violence to intimidate you into obedience. Or they might take a more subtle approach, giving you the cold shoulder to keep you feeling anxious and confused. Anytime you try to speak up, you feel ignored and unimportant. Their wants and needs eclipse your own. Gee, remind you of anyone? Also, elements of Donald Trump's behavior in malignant narcissism: grandiosity, or having an overinflated sense of self-importance. It's a key to all forms of narcissism. A malignant narcissistic coworker might believe that they're too important to work on a low-level task with you, or a friend who is a narcissist might constantly derail conversations so they can brag about their latest accomplishment. Gee, sound like anyone? Trump? Some researchers have theorized that a narcissist's grandiose behavior is a way to cope with paranoid anxiety. For example, a coworker might constantly brag because they believe you're plotting to beat them to a promotion. Or another aspect of it, cruelty. One of the key aspects of a malignant narcissist is their sadistic behavior. They may genuinely enjoy the suffering of others. For instance, a malignant narcissist boss might openly mock and criticize you in front of your coworkers. They'll pile on snide remarks and say things like, you're lucky to even have this job. They're aware that the public shaming will leave you feeling embarrassed and anxious, and that's their goal. It makes them feel more powerful. Yeah, that doesn't sound like Trump at all. You know, like posting videos of him literally shitting on people. Literally shitting on people. Or somehow trying to make fun of different political figures that tend to be obese. Like, oh, like, look at these people. Like, or, yeah, not narcissistic at all, photoshopping your face into Mount Rushmore. Now, it's one thing to do this as an occasional funny joke or whatever, but it's another thing to constantly do it without letting up and, like, constantly doing it. It just shows how much of a malignant narcissist he really is. Or, let me give you another example. Remember when he was redoing a bathroom in the White House? He posted, I think, 6 separate posts about this like marble bathroom. Look at this. 6 separate posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. I think I missed one. Hold on. Wait. Or I can't count. Oh, maybe it was just 5. Sorry, I miscounted. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. He is such a narcissist. He's such a narcissist. Putting down other people. Posting a video that even had the former president and his wife, Michelle Obama, former First Lady, as apes. A very racist trope. It's complete malignant narcissism. Or like this. I don't think many people even talked about this. You know those word blobs people use to describe something? This was Donald Trump's back in like 2024. He posted this to his Truth Social. Revenge, dictatorship, power. I don't understand why nothing is a part of that. I don't get it. Is that there's nothing to Donald Trump other than revenge, dictatorship, and power? Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. But it's so funny. You're like, oh, dictatorship is a fluke. He literally also has dictator over here. He's a malignant narcissist. Malignant narcissists hold military parades for themselves because they want the admiration. So all of this going into it, all of this being said, and I'm going to be ending the live stream here in just a second, or in a couple minutes. It's not surprising that Donald Trump uses an alias like John Barron to call into C-SPAN to complain about the Supreme Court, basically issuing a ruling he doesn't like. It's perfect narcissistic behavior. But going further, everything else that Donald Trump has done also shows he's clearly a malignant narcissist. He is actively trying to use empathy, actively trying to make empathy the antagonistic, making it seem bad. Like, oh, if you have empathy for somebody else or someone's culture or someone's differences or seeing diversity as like a negative, like this is what Donald Trump does. He posts things that intend to gaslight and hurt people. And then he has a overinflated sense of self-worth. He's clearly a malignant narcissist. So, I think we should, I'm going to start just referring to Trump as a malignant narcissist. Because, it's so clear. And I'm not even a psychologist, but following what those people are saying, yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. And this is the thing. Put the shoe on the other foot. If this was the kind of behavior coming out of a Democratic administration, I'd be saying it too. I'd be like, okay, if we just switched Donald Trump to being a registered Democrat, didn't change any of his policies, didn't change any of that, I would be calling it out. Because it's not about the fact that he is a Republican. It is about the fact that he is Donald Trump. That he does all of this crazy ass crap. All of this stuff that hurts America. It's not about Team Red, Team Blue. It's about policy. It's about substance. It's about his character. It's about how awful of a person he is and what that represents for us to have elected such a guy. So, MAGA is oozing desperation. Yeah. Name a politician that isn't narcissistic. Well, that's interesting. I would say that there are politicians that aren't narcissistic, 100%. But also, your view of narcissism might differ from my view of narcissism. One politician that I don't think is very narcissistic, I'm thinking really, really deeply about this. The politicians that are narcissistic are the ones that don't often have their names in the papers. Or that don't constantly seek lots of attention. I would say that my current representative in North Carolina, I think that my current representative doesn't like to be in the spotlight. So I would say that person, and I'm not going to reveal who that is. I don't think that certain people like Ilhan Omar, I think she's pretty chill. Like, I don't think that a lot of Democratic people who constantly are in Congress, I don't think that they're malignant narcissists. Or at all. I do think that there is an element of, if you're going to become a politician, there's like, like somehow you are narcissistic because you want to do that. But I don't think that's fair. But also, again, your version of narcissism might be different than mine. Also, Bernie. Yeah, I don't think that Bernie is narcissistic at all. It's interesting because I also want to point out that comments like that are a natural knee-jerk reaction as a way to avoid Trump being if Trump is a narcissist, but all politicians are narcissists, that's a way for you to water down it's a way for you to somehow avoid that critical thinking that comes along with calling out Trump. It's like, if every politician is a narcissist, it's rationalizing. Like, if every politician is a narcissist, somehow it's okay for Donald Trump to act the way he does. It's a way of trying to avoid critical thinking and accountability as well. But I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are amazing. But what did you think of today's live stream? I'm being heavily suppressed, which really sucks. But there's only certain things I can control. And I really thought we would have a lot more spread for today's live stream, but it is what it is. It is a Monday. And I appreciate every single one of you. I really, really do. I'm sort of at a crossroads, and I've been thinking a lot with my content. I'm not sure which direction I want to go in. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place at the moment. And I'm also just frustrated because of things I can't control, but I'm trying to release and not be frustrated about that. I put my heart and my soul in my content, and so it means a lot to have you all here. Join the Discord. Yes, we love you. It's been a great live today. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. I love all over. Oh, thank you, Dennis Nielsen. I will say, do you all want, now that it's kind of just family in here, do you all want more live streams like this? I think I might take this more as an approach, where I'm gonna try to report the crazy news, but I'm gonna try to do it with a more positive spin. I didn't know the Trump C-SPAN story. I appreciated your live. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I saw that yesterday and I was like, oh. Because right now, I think that there's a lot of news coverage. There's a lot of political reporting that is just really negative, And I think people are looking for a way to laugh. People are looking for a way to smile through the craziness. And to me, the severity of the topics and the impact is real. Though also, I think that something I want to do is focus on what we can control and also just laughing about it. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's crazy. So, anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. If you all enjoyed the live stream, then let me know. Let me know. I think my Trump impression is one of the best. Some say it's actually the best on YouTube. Some people say that's better than anyone else. My wife Melania says that she really liked when Barron got in the sheets with her. John Barron today. She really liked it. She thought it was fantastic. And some people think that maybe Donald Trump should become president of, the world. Some people say he should become the president of all of the countries, all of the 1 billion countries on this planet. Some say that he should be the president of Venezuela, or president of Mexico, Argentina, become the president of Arizona, Some say he would be a fantastic president of Arizona. That country nearby. Anyway, if you enjoyed my content, please make sure to like the videos. I'm trying to post more stuff, but I also have a full-time job outside of this here. I love all of you. Shout out to my amazing moderators, C-Bar, Kate, Elisa, y'all are incredible. Cherie, Ellie, I love that you're in here today. Ellie, you're amazing. I love all of you so much. Akicha, thank you, Akicha. Cherie. You know, stories like these just kind of lift my heart, or lift my soul, because it just reminds me we're dealing with a petulant child with malignant narcissism. I mean, it's crazy, and the damage is very real. But also, one of the best ways to defeat a dictator is to call it out as it is and be like, that's pathetic. It's pathetic. One of the best ways to beat a bully is to stand up to them, but then also be like, not fearful. Like, it's pathetic. He's also got dementia, 100%. 100%. So, anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. I need to skedaddle. I love all of you. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything or the algorithm ever, 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 ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!